Welcome to the Why Not Real Estate Podcast, where you will learn top strategies from world-class real estate investors, both large and small. Why not? Tune in and get started today.
Right? Organization, one of the hardest things, not real estate, it's actually time management. You know, after coaching all those people, Brian, people have a hard time planning, organizing, and being consistent and blocking off time. That's the number one thing that anyone that wants to be successful, I don't care if it's real estate, whatever you want to do, you got to decide how much time do I want to invest in this, whether it's 5 hours a week, 8 hours a week, whatever, and then you got to put it on your calendar. Because if you don't, nothing's going to happen. I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times.
Hey, what's up, all of my real estate peeps? This is Brian Lucier, welcoming you to another exciting episode of the Why Not Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we bring you insights from some of the brightest minds in the industry, where we believe investing in multifamily apartments is one of the best performing asset classes in real estate. Today, we have an exceptional guest whose diverse background and impressive accomplishments set him apart as a true leader and innovator. We're thrilled to have our guest today, who's played an pivotal role in our real estate journey. As our personal investing, growth, and development coach, he's been instrumental in guiding us and holding us accountable every step of the way. Our guest started his journey with a solid foundation in engineering, holding a degree in mechanical and biomedical engineering. He spent 9 years as a mechanical and thermal design engineer, during which time he secured U.S. patents, showcasing his knack for innovation and problem solving. Hey, what's up, all of my real estate peeps? This is Brian Lucier, welcoming you to another exciting episode of the Why Not Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we bring you insights from some of the brightest minds in the industry, where we believe investing in multifamily apartments is one of the best performing asset classes in real estate. Today, we have an exceptional guest whose diverse background and impressive accomplishments set him apart as a true leader and innovator. We're thrilled to have our guest today, who's played an pivotal role in our real estate journey. As our personal investing, growth, and development coach, he's been instrumental in guiding us and holding us accountable every step of the way. Our guest started his journey with a solid foundation in engineering, holding a degree in mechanical and biomedical engineering. He spent 9 years as a mechanical and thermal design engineer, during which time he secured U.S. patents, showcasing his knack for innovation and problem solving. Transitioning into real estate, he's completed over 100 single-family and multifamily transactions and partnered on more than 1,100 multifamily units. His expertise in the field has made him highly sought after as a real estate investor, educator, mentor, and coach. For the past 18 plus years, he has been a business coach with RE Mentor. Thank you, RE Mentor. He has guided over 2,000 investors on their journey on how to acquire and fund multi-million-dollar apartment complexes. His training sessions have influenced and drawn audiences exceeding over 500 participants. He's also the creator of the underwriting software, the template that we used to do all of our deals, as well as other various training resources for the RE Mentor mentorship program. Thank you again, RE Mentor. In addition to his real estate achievements, he has dedicated his last 5 years of his life to coaching entrepreneurs in the health and wellness sector. He's trained hundreds of individuals on how to share unique health products and build a residual income stream along their primary endeavors. Our guest's passion for unity, honor, and peace led him to co-found and co-create the iconic Flag for Hope project. Through this initiative, he has collaborated with American icons like Muhammad Ali, Sandra Day O'Connor, Tom Selleck, Jack Nicklaus, Smokey Robinson, General Colin Powell, and Gloria Estefan. He's traveled to over 35 states to promote these values, making a significant impact across the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, all of my real estate peeps, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to the show today real estate educator, mentor, entrepreneur, health and wellness business coach, and the co-founder and creator of iconic Flag for Hope, my friend, longtime mentor, Mr. Don Goff. Don, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Glad to be here. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. It has. And for all of my real estate peeps out there, Don is near and dear to Hanju and our hearts. He was our mentor and coach over a decade ago to get us started on the path for multi-real estate. And Don, you may not know this, but the fruits of your effort have landed me on a tropical island. Thank you, Don.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. So glad to hear that, Brian.
Yeah, it was great. The accountability from the coaching. I can't say enough about that. You did a great job. Also, your underwriting template helped us to get here. You created a template that a lot of students were using to underwrite deals, and it kept us out of a lot of deals we shouldn't have done, and it helped us find some diamonds in the rough, which we absolutely are glad that we were able to find. So Don, thank you again so much for being my mentor and coach, and thank you for your time to be here on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome, Brian. I mean, it was a pleasure coaching you guys, and you guys are so consistent and dedicated to what you're doing. That's why you had your success. That's one of the key things. You got to be coachable and really, you took a lot of action, which is how you learn, right?
Yeah, and we're not done yet.
Always learning.
When we moved down here, I told Hanju this was a blank chapter. I didn't know how we were going to fill the pages, and now here we are in our second season of the show. Wow. So I'm kind of excited about that as well.
That's awesome.
So let's jump right in. Don, I know some of your story, but for our viewers on the show here today, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you used to do before becoming a real estate investor?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, I was a thermal engineer at a computer company. We designed fault-tolerant computers that never go down, and I was the lead role for developing the cooling systems so that way they never overheat. And I did that for, I don't know how long, it's about 8 years before I started getting into the real estate world. So obviously being an engineer, I love the numbers part of things, more the analytical type. Behind the scenes guy is more of my preference, but I can play the front if I need to. Learned that as being an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. So a lot of personal growth in doing that.
Excellent. So, yeah, I've talked to so many people in an engineering background that the numbers just made sense when they moved forward to real estate. Mm-hmm. So here you are, you're an engineer, computer guy, designing these systems. What was that moment? I mean, how were you influenced to get into real estate?
Sure. Well, it was mostly influenced by my job, believe it or not, because we hit Y2K, if everyone can remember, those that were old enough, when everyone thought the world was going to end with computers and the dates and everything that was going on there. And unfortunately, for the next 5 years after that, I didn't get a raise in corporate America. No one did in the whole company. And I was a performer like a lot of other people. And so I was just, tired of that. And one of my friends actually was doing some real estate, and he had got involved. He had a partner, didn't think anything of it. And one day we were just talking, and he was really looking for investors. And he said, hey, listen, I didn't know this at the time, but he knew I was an engineer. He knew I was disciplined. He knew, frugal and all that good stuff that comes along a lot of times with being an engineer. And he said, hey, the next time I come across a good property, because he owned a few small multis, is that something you would want to take a look at with me? And I'm like, absolutely. Because I knew leveraged income, apartments. I know a lot of people amass their wealth in apartments, but it wasn't something, to be honest, I was going to do on my own. It wasn't something I pursued on my own. Someone kind of invited me to that. And that's the beauty of the business. You just don't know. Everyone loves real estate that I've talked to anyway, 95% anyway. It's in the back of their mind because they know people have gained their wealth. So that caught my attention and we started talking. And then, what happened after that is I saw, actually, believe it or not, an infomercial on TV and flipping properties, getting into real estate. Like, oh, come on, let's just go. Talked him into going. And he's like, there's no free lunch. Those are a scam, but we learned so much information just by getting some education. And then from that point, we decided, hey, we think we can make this work to get out of our corporate jobs.
And was this Chris, your partner?
No, this is Craig.
Craig, my bad.
Yeah.
You were my coach. I remember you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's hard. That's 10 years ago. You've come across a lot of people. I've coached over 2,000 at this point. So you just meet so many people along the way. It's but that's another thing I love about the business.
2,000 students.
Yeah. I fell in love with coaching. It was challenging my first few years because, with anything, learning something new. And I just coached sports, hockey, soccer for my kids and stuff. I started coaching back in early 2006 and 2005. I don't remember now, 2005 or 2006. And I loved it. After a few years, just seeing people like yourself. Now I can't believe since we connected, what you've accomplished, but just anything, just helping people be in a better spot, helping them navigate through it. Because there's so much information when you first get started. You don't know which direction to go, who to believe, who not to believe. And so any guidance I could give people, I really fell in love with that.
Well, you held me accountable, and we did what we needed to do. We followed the path, and we ended up on the beach. Crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's what people dream of, right? It's not always about the money. It's more what the money does for you. Quality time, quality of life. People working 60, 80 hours a week in many cases. So if you can have some leveraged income coming in to supplement whatever you're doing and give you more options. That's the way I look at real estate, is it gives you more options. You can do it full-time, part-time, and that's the exciting piece about it. You don't have to go out and start a traditional business, but you have to invest a couple $1 million. You can do it part-time on the side of what you're doing.
So you had Craig. He came up alongside. You guys partnered. You did some smaller deals together. You saw the infomercial. You went and did what you need to do. You got educated.
Yeah.
Any other influences that directed you to say, hey, maybe real estate might be something here?
That was it. That was my journey. That was it. Really. It's so if you're in real estate, it's so important to talk to other people. You're your best marketing, just telling people what you do and piquing people's interests. And that's what I coach on now with a lot of people, is to get out there and just do that. Because someone was asking me to really come in as an investor, or maybe, are you just interested? It wasn't like this big pitch he gave me. He said, hey, if I come across another good deal, that's something you'd be interested in talking about. And then I was the one, now that the door was cracked open a little bit, oh, what do you do? How do you do it? How much money can you make? And then now that the mind's thinking about going down this road, now when this infomercial might have been on TV for the last 10 years, never paid attention to it, right?
Yeah, the visual articulation system. Once you start thinking about real estate, all you see is real estate.
That's it. It happens with everything in life. You buy a car, now everyone on the road has that car, right? So it's out of sight, out of mind. And that was definitely, now I'm starting to think, hey, maybe I could do something like this. I'm sick of my job. Maybe this could be a stepping stone. I had no idea where I was going to go, but I decided to start doing a little bit of something, educate myself, going to the local real estate clubs and so forth.
So I'm going to take the lead on your comment there.
Yeah.
This question has two prongs to it. So
okay.
I'll ask first for you and then for the newbie.
Sure.
How many years you're an investor now?
20.
20 years. So the first part of the question, if you could go back in time to Don 20 years ago, what piece of advice would you give yourself starting out? And then I'm going to fast forward 20 years. We're in a different market, a different time. What advice would you give to a newbie who's on the fence seeing this for the first time, like that infomercial? What advice would you give to a newbie starting out?
Yeah. So the advice I give myself, I guess, would be to, it's hard to say now. I'm trying to think back 20 years of where I was at and getting started. I mean, I wouldn't have spread myself so thin. I was trying to learn everything at once at the beginning. You had so much every time you go to a different education. Sometimes there'd be other people there sharing information about another piece of real estate, whether it be mobile homes, storage. There's so many different ways in real estate to make money. And figure out what you're passionate about and really stick to that. Build a system around it, and then you can move on to something else. And that's pretty much what I did. Is just I focused on too many things. I started off in single family. That's what I saw the infomercial on. My partner had started off in multis, but in our market, it's going to depend on what your market is at the time too. But we were going to too many different educations, and we spent so much time on education, we weren't doing the do, right? Because and so at one point we just said, hey, we got to streamline this. We got to stop traveling, doing it. We love the learning, but we said, let's implement this first. And once we get a system around this, then let's move on to something else.
Yeah, and you make a really good point there. I mean, you could ask 10 investors what their strategy is and get 13 different answers.
Yeah, really
So
good.
each person's going to have their own thing, like you said, to be passionate about. For us, it was multifamily.
Right.
Uh, so what was it about multifamily that focused you there? And then we'll jump back to that other question.
Yeah, sure. Well, leverage income, to have a little extra money coming. It doesn't matter how much. It can be $500 a month, $1,000 a month, just to cover something. That's what I really loved about it. And to cover a car payment, cover your mortgage. A lot of people want to make 10,000 a month, like out of the gate. Nothing works that way, right? But to build something and have that leverage, so you have options. You have a plan A and a plan B, something that you've already started. You put systems around while you're working full time, and then all of a sudden you might lose your job. Well, now you can maybe diversify a lot of more of your effort. Maybe you get laid off and you collect it for the next 6 months, and now you can focus a lot of time on the real estate. Options reduce stress, right? To have options on things. If you bought a few properties, have a goal maybe to cover your mortgage. That way, if you lost your job or something, now you have that money to cover your mortgage. You don't have to worry as much. It's a safeguard. But then that leverage income, then that's the short term thinking. But the long term thinking is to continually have money coming in, and building it to the point where we can't live on just Social Security anymore. We need other income coming in. Besides that, even 401ks, a lot of people's make 8% on the mutual funds or whatever. You have to put a lot of money in there to make a certain amount. Well, apartments give you that leverage to supplement whatever you have. And so everyone has different goals. And that's the other thing. People get too caught up in other people's goals. Know why you're doing it. My mentor owned 10,000 units. That wasn't my goal. My goal is quality of time, quality of life, more time with my kids, having enough. So even as a coach, a lot of people say, "Wow, why do you own 10,000 units?" Because I don't want to. That's not my goal. I don't always need more. If I have a quality of life, that's what a lot of other people are going for.
I mean, you said enough, and that is like just a flag there. Everybody's definition of enough. I mean,
Yeah,
what might be enough for this person might not be enough for that person. Some people love to play the game and build the engine.
yeah,
Quality of life, I mean, if you can get to that point, I mean, we've reached a point where we have a quality of life, but I love the engine and I love the game. So
yeah.
we're going to keep rolling that out. So I'm going to bring you back to that newbie who might be seeing this for the first time, thinking real estate sounds interesting. Someone who's on the fence today, what advice would you have?
Yeah, definitely educate yourself more, explore it, and get a mentor. If you decide you want to do something, get a mentor, because whether it's hockey, I did the same thing with my son in hockey. I'm like, I coach individuals one on one. Why don't I apply this to my son who's playing hockey? Because I had him in all these different camps and he wasn't making the progress. And as soon as I got one on one coaching, his skating went, his shooting went sky. He did so much better at it because you're refining that one person, right? You're getting advice directly towards you. So that's and can give you that guidance. Like if I had someone more, saying, hey, focus on this first. And my mentor did, Dave Lindahl was one of my mentors. And, he definitely did that. He's the one that helped me get out of corporate America. And because he shifted my focus on a couple of things. And you won't know to do because you don't know what you don't know. Right. And it's that one little thing that can change someone's whole trajectory of their business. And that's one thing I love, too, about what I do now is that, that one thing can be one call. It's an aha moment. We had a lot of conversations where, that might have happened as well.
So that newbie, get educated.
Yeah, get educated and pick a path, and what you go, what you're passionate about. Write down what your goals are. It doesn't matter what everyone's goals are. I mean, you started off. I remember you started off. I only remember. I mean, 2,000 people. I remember probably 5%, like people in detail, and those are people that really took a ton of action. It's like anything else. It's like realtors, same thing. Not every realtor is super successful. You have a certain percentage of successful, and it's not because of the program. It's not because of it's because of the person. They just don't have that going there. But you got to know what's worth it for you. I remember, I want to tell one story. He's another Hall of Fame student. I think you're a Hall of Fame student. One of my guys from Texas. And and it's the same thing. He started off with small properties. He had like 20, 30 small properties, and he got caught up with everyone else's doing. He's going to sell them all. He almost owned them free and clear, and was gonna go buy one big apartment building because that's what he thought he needed to do, because everyone's saying go big, do this, that's what you need to do. And I'm like, what's your goals? What's your money goals? How close are you at it? He goes, oh, we already hit it. I'm like, then why are you going to put all your eggs in one basket? Investing is, you're going to mitigate your risk. It's investing. There is risk. Multifamily is one of the best things because you mitigate it, I think, the most out of versus doing a development or a flip, because you have money coming in all the time. You're buying a business that's already rolling. And that's the advice I gave him, is don't sell everything. And he thought, he was shocked by it because I focused on him. That's what's best for you. You want quality. He's telling me, I want more time with my family. I want this. I go, you already got it. Why are you chasing? He goes, man, I got so caught up in the hype because I didn't realize what I got. So it's, so that's, he could have bought that big property. Something happened in the market, put all his eggs in one basket after, having all these cash cows. So yeah, so that's what I would say. Focus on you, know what you want, know your first money goals, and then make a plan to get it.
Your story of your Texas student sounds like the book The Alchemist.
Yeah.
He was a shepherd, loved being a shepherd, thought he wanted something else, found out he still loved being a shepherd, and he went back to what he was doing.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things I've learned, even for myself. I was always chasing because everybody always had more. Like I said, my mentor did 10,000 units, and a lot of other people did this and that. And sometimes I get caught up in that. I'm like, I don't even want that. Why am I focused on getting that? I don't even want it just because they had it, but you get caught up with the Joneses sometimes.
Here you are, the consummate coach. I needed to hear this too.
Hey, we all do. I need to hear it sometimes. It's like, you're really going to evaluate yourself, especially as you start getting, older and older. I know I have. I'm 51 now. And even me now, I'm not out there. I'm still doing it. Like you said, you have the option. The big difference now for you, Brian, is you don't have to do it. You want to do it. That's a big difference. Yeah, you love the chase. I do too. I still love flipping single family homes. I love the before and afters when the right one, but I cherry pick. I don't take the ones that are going to cause me a lot of stress. So that's the place to be. And you still do what you love because you want to do it, not because you have to do it.
Well, one of my joys today is doing this show, finding passionate people like yourself who could probably inspire other people to have a better life for themselves.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that you're doing it. And I had no idea until you reached out to me. And it's very rewarding seeing someone, help people change their lives for the better or have a positive impact on somebody.
So once again, you're bringing it to the table with all this sage advice, and I'm so glad I have you here.
Thank you.
So we're going to move it forward. I want to be respectful of your time here.
Yeah, sure.
So we're going to do a little deep dive here.
Okay.
If there's one in the top of your head, or maybe one or two, what's the best deal you ever did? What type of property was it?
Sure.
How did you find it? And
Yep.
how did you finance it?
Yeah, one always pops into my mind as more when I was early on, and it was actually a single family that I was flipping, and I made $80,000 on it. And the funny part is that the way we found it was we would teach people how to drive for dollars, because I taught people on single families and multis and driving through different neighborhoods. That's what driving for dollars is. Look for distressed properties. So there was a neighborhood near my house within 5 miles. So I used to run for dollars, get my run in at the same time and go. And it was in March, and I saw a piece of Christmas paper still on the front door in March, and the lawn was high. And I said, oh, that's strange, to be there. And it looked a little distressed. So we, do what we say that we do is, I went back there after, put a door hanger on there saying that, we buy these properties, and you can do this for single or multi, doesn't matter. We also then sent a postcard out, and The lady got the postcard. She was an executrix. She wanted nothing to do with it. It was a big, I guess, mold issue in the property. But then she sent, here's the probate attorney's, name and number because it's been vacant. And then we got the deal. So that's how we found it. Just running through neighborhoods, saw this distressed property and made $80,000 off of it. So that was pretty exciting.
So running for dollars, you used your sneaker network.
Naked network, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you did the door hanger, a couple other ways you reached out to her. So tell me a little bit about the deal. How much did you end up paying for that?
104. I think it was 104 at the time.
104. And you said it's a single family. Is it your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath deal?
Yeah, three bedroom ranch. Always love doing the ranches because it's easier. Entry level homes is always the best because you have the most amount of buyers if you're flipping it, right? First time home buyers. They don't have to sell a house to buy a house. Again, we're always trying to give ourselves, to be successful, give yourself as many outs or many options as you can. Same thing with the marketing. We didn't market one way. We market to at least 2 ways, 3 ways every time. That's why you put it. You don't know if someone's going to show up at the property. You're going to send them a piece of mail and that might not go through. We also talk to the neighbors. That was the third way. See what's going on with it. How long has it been vacant? What do they know about it? So that's for any type of property. But yeah, so we paid around 104, is quite a bit in rehab. I think I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was 80 to 100,000 in rehab because it was a big mold issue. We had to get fully remediated. It was kind of a nightmare from that standpoint, but learned so much. Getting called on a vacation to Florida, hazmat calls because there's people in suits going in and out because of the mold. But anyway, it was a great learning property, and we made a lot of money on it. And I think we sold it for 280 to 300 at the time.
You're way ahead of me there. Okay, 280 to 300. Okay, so 104.
Yep.
100 for rehab. So on your purchase, was that cash? How did you finance it?
Yeah, it was cash through private money.
Private money, okay. And for anyone on the show listening to it, private money is it's like a mezzanine loan. You'll borrow the money, purchase the property, and in this case, it looks like you disposed of the property to pay that off.
Yeah, dispose of the property. Yeah, when we sold it.
So the 100K, was that part of the private money as well?
Yes.
Okay, so you wrap the whole thing up, 204 private money.
Yeah, it was somewhere around, like it says, 80 to 100. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, and in and out.
We netted 80 at the end of the day.
So in and out on this flip, how long was the whole process?
That was that one was probably 6 to 8 months, 6 or 7 months, because it was a bigger rehab. We had to gut it. So, typically we could turn a rehab around in a month. If you're just doing a fluff and buff. But yeah, so that one I believe was longer than 6 months, that we factored in for a hold because it was such a big rehab. A lot of moving parts.
I'm going on the high numbers here that you did 100 for the rehab, that it was 8 months to get in and out, and you were between 280 and 300.
Yeah.
So at 8 months, you had a partner?
Yeah.
Okay. So 8 months, you were making a net of $4,000 a month on this property.
Yeah.
Your partner made $4,000 a month. You made $4,000 a month. So even if you didn't have the partner and you pulled this down, or anyone who's watching pulled this down with private money and did the same type of deal, I mean, okay, the market's a little different now. You need to know your buy and hold and all these exit strategies. But just looking in a fishbowl at your deal, you made 80K. You made 10 grand a month on this deal.
I know, it's awesome.
Why would you not do it?
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean,
and you don't need a partner to do it. It just happened that we did everything 50-50. We did the business together, and but like I said, in the marketing, the marketing cost us 23 cents.
Oh my God.
Right? I mean, that's the beauty of it. We're not, other things, we did have to spend a lot on marketing, putting up signs, and you can do radio ads, you can do a lot of things, but when you can do that and try to work it in, or if you're driving back and forth from work, driving through different neighborhoods that you're interested in, these are the little things that you can do where you can, get some leads without having to pay for them.
Wow, nice deal. And in 8 months, and you found it getting in shape, taking care of yourself.
Yeah. I just thought I should stop running for dollars again.
Well, you can, right?
Yeah, I know I can if I want to. Yeah, we all have that option.
So I'm going to keep moving it on here.
Oh,
I'm keeping an eye on the clock for you. What is the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome as a real estate investor, and how did you solve it?
yeah. One of the biggest hurdles at the beginning that I know I used to get really frustrated is with, people calling you back, brokers calling you back, management companies calling you back. And I know a lot of my students will initially have that issue as well, because you're trying to move things fast, right? You're trying to, you don't want to take 2 weeks to get on the phone or a week to get on the phone with somebody. And so one of the biggest things is when you're calling people is, what I did was said, all right, we got to be different. We got to leave different messages. Again, we're going to do things more than one way. That's one of the biggest reasons for why I got to where I got is I always multiplied things by 2 or 3. When they said to go to your local real estate club, I went to 3. Dave Lindahl's was the third one over an hour away. I wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't go to that one. I didn't have to, multiplied it by 3. So that way we could learn as much, meet as many people as we could. So same thing here with getting on the phone with people, and because people get discouraged. That's, I guess, the challenge of that whole thing. I guess if I want to put on a macro level is getting discouraged because there's ups and downs. It's not all sunshine and rainbows being an entrepreneur. But you can mitigate that and you can put things in your favor. And that's why you go and you have support groups like your real estate clubs. But the more you can position yourself to get more yeses from people, the more momentum that you get. And that's what we did. So it changed. What do we say in our messages? Hey, I'm looking to say if there's a broker looking to place some money, over $500,000 I'm looking to work with over the next 90 days. I saw your name on, Crexy, LoopNet, or wherever. I'd really appreciate it if you could call me back later today. But if not, I understand. I'll be available tomorrow at this time. So what I just did there was I gave him a sense of urgency. I already have money. I'm telling him. I'm also telling somebody, psychology wise, saying, hey, I'd appreciate calling back. I'm setting expectations. I'm talking like a businessman, right? Appreciate it calling back today. That's my expectation. I'm assuming you can, but I'm also not unrealistic. The guy wasn't waiting for me to call. The lady wasn't waiting for me to call them. So then I said, hey, this is when I'm available tomorrow. So he doesn't try to call me during a time I'm not available, right? Because then you start playing phone tag, and then the longer it takes, the more you lose your momentum and the harder it is. And following up multiple ways, leaving a voicemail, then send them a text. Hey, just want to let you know I just left you a voicemail. When you have a second, because people like to communicate in different ways, and so that's important. Or email too. You could send them an email. So that way, some people might have a better chance of getting back to you. Email, text, or voicemail. Yep.
Yeah, that's really gold there because, a lot of investors, busy people, if they don't recognize the phone number, they won't answer it. They'll let it go to voice message. So the text, following up with the text, that's really smart. And you could just say, hey, I left you a voice message. If you're lucky enough to get their email,
Yeah.
then you could actually send them things not even real estate related.
Yeah.
If you find out that they are part of a nonprofit or something like that, you can pique their interest. People like to do business with people they like.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's all about commonality and building rapport with somebody. I mean,
So
that's
just curious, you have all these operations, you have all these systems, you've got the callbacks, you've got the multiple different operational ways to contact these people. How are you tracking all that back then?
well. I have a simple way of doing it. People want to get a CRM, which is fine too, and I still do this. Like I want to show you quickly. I have a book, so I write everything in this book, you know, and it's chronological. So everyone I talk to on the phone is in this book. So I know, hey, I talked to this guy last month, whatever. Now, once I have this in this book, you know, my calendar is my next big piece. So following up is one of the biggest things, as you know, Brian, in anything. You got to follow up with people. And a lot of people think it's because they didn't want to talk to them is why they didn't call them back. It's no, because everyone's so damn busy, right? So that's why the follow up is so important. So as soon as at the end of every day, I'll take those books. If I don't have time right after the call, right? Because if I'm going into another one, I'll look at my book for the day, put my follow ups in my calendar. So if it's a 1 week out, it's already in there. So when next week comes on that day, I know I got to call Joe. I'm not even have to think about it. I'm not missing any follow ups. And then if I wanted any extra information, like say if the brokers and I wanted to compare all their notes, like what they told me the going cap rate is in the market, stuff like that, than just use an Excel spreadsheet. But I love the calendar for the follow-up. That's worked what's best for me. It's simple. I got to look at my calendar every day anyway. It's not another piece of software I would look at. I'm old school though. The people of 20s and 30s, they might, want to do it differently, which CRM is great too. But that's how I like to do it and keep track of everything.
So I'm going to follow the rabbit hole here on
Yeah.
your calendar. I'm going to make an assumption. This is a Google Calendar.
Google Calendar, color coded. If I got to get back to someone on a phone call, it's like this light violet color. My student calls are in this dark orange color. So I look at my schedule every week and I kind of see where am I spending all my time, right? Organization, one of the hardest things, not real estate, it's actually time management. After coaching all those people, Brian, people have a hard time planning, organizing, and being consistent and blocking off time. That's the number one thing that anyone that wants to be successful, I don't care if it's real estate, whatever you want to do, you got to decide how much time do I want to invest in this, whether it's 5 hours a week, 8 hours a week, whatever, and then you got to put it on your calendar. Because if you don't, nothing's going to happen. I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times.
So I'm like a dog with a bone here. I'm not going to let go. The calendar, right? And
Yes.
I'm going to put this out there and you tell me how you were doing it.
Yeah.
Say I'm trying to get in touch with you. Don's got a property I really like. I've called you on a Wednesday, so I can go right into my calendar. I can put in a notice to call Don back on Wednesday. I
Yeah.
can cut and paste all my notes in there, and I can make that an occurring event, like
Yeah.
every Wednesday, give him a call. And
Yeah.
then if I'm scheduling my time properly, being the disciplined student that you've taught me to be, I can block out like an hour of time on Wednesday to just bang, 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 rapid fire, make all my calls back, check that box off. If somebody has me a lead, give them the time, maybe on Thursday I'm available.
That's right. Yeah. That's the way to do it. And same thing. I mean, a lot of times people are doing a full-time job when they start this business, trying to get their way in. So lunchtime break, you don't want to be looking up brokers or looking up whoever you have to call. You want it on your calendar. So your lunch break starts, you look at your calendar, like you said, and you know exactly what you need to do. You have the numbers even in the calendar if you want to be like that, and that organized. And then you just hit it because you might only have 30 minutes. So you can make 2 or 3 phone calls in 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you get some people on the phone, you can make 10 if you don't get anyone on the phone. But if you can actually have phone, 10, that's all your phone call conversation should be, 10, 15 minutes, right? Get to the point. You can, build a little rapport, get to the point, and, move on.
And move on we shall.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you've told me how you got started into real estate and Craig, and then the infomercial, then the RIAs multiplied by 3. You were saturating yourself out there. So I'm, as you can tell, I'm a bit of a book nerd here,
Yeah.
and I'm always looking for good recommendations.
All right.
Was there a book early on in your investing career that had the biggest impact on you?
I like The Power of Discipline by Brian Tracy. That's a really good book. And it's not just about discipline. It's about, that's how you have a happiness too, as well, by being disciplined. So it's not this boring book. Like people think, oh, discipline. I mean, that's a boring topic, right? Yeah. How much can you talk about discipline? But there's a lot more to it than that, and how it leads to success on there. So that's a really good book for you to lead, just for every aspect of your life to get more done, to be more consistent, and that's what discipline is being more consistent, helps you be more consistent. If you're not consistent with something, it's going to be hard for you to make progress.
Brian Tracy's a great author. He's got a ton of books.
Yeah.
I read a lot of his sales books and
Yeah.
even more the audio books. I love those more. When I was back in Massachusetts, we used to call it Silverado University.
Yeah.
Talk with his DVDs and drive around and listen to all these audio books.
What's your favorite one back there that when you're getting started?
I would say the one that had the biggest impact on me was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
I give that one a lot too.
Yeah, just
That's structuring your business,
Yeah, we replayed CD number 6 an awful lot.
Yeah, I don't remember which one that one was, but it's I've given that book to a lot of people. Love that book. Think and Grow Rich. I hear from a lot of my students. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the book that would get most people started.
Yeah, I have a whole cube over there dedicated to Robert Kiyosaki
Yeah,
and Donald Trump, and Lindahl's in there as well with the book
yeah,
you wrote with Trump.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the power of discipline, but I'm gonna have, I mean, I'm always building a book list from these interviews
Yeah,
here.
I'm gonna have to get a few from you since you're building your list.
Oh, happy to. Happy to give you some
Yeah,
of
you
my.
always want to be growing. You always want to get better. I mean, that's what I always share too. Is that's your goal? Is try to get better every week, right? Do a little bit better.
So I'm reading a lot of self-growth books right now,
Yeah,
mindset books, because the operations are operations. Once you
yeah,
build the operations, it's staying on top of your game, the discipline.
yeah.
Is there a second book that had an impact on you as an investor?
212 degrees, the extra degree. I just spoke about this at one of Lindahl's events, one of their more advanced programs. I was just in Boston. This is the topic I spoke on because I'm like, what does everybody need? Everyone has the education. It's the mindset. That's one of the key things about being successful as an entrepreneur. And if you think about 212 degrees, the extra degree is you take a molecule of water, or take water, and you take it from a state that's very hot, right? Very hot. You might be having a little success and very hot, and if you're at 211 degrees, but it's amazing the transformation putting in that one extra degree. When you hit 212, now you have enough. You have something that generates enough force to actually power a locomotive, right? Think about that. You have 211 degrees, it's boiling, locomotive's not moving. You're doing a lot of good things. You've got momentum going, but just putting that little extra, making sure you do that a little extra and doing a little bit more, going all in. That's when the magic starts to happen.
Oh my goodness.
Like I said, that's why I went to 3 real estate clubs. That's why I did this. Is going the extra, doing. They tell you to do this, do a little bit more, and that's what made you put yourself in situations where things can happen. But that book was really good to the mindset to say, just don't. You can't dip your toe in anything. I'm going to go to the gym a couple times a week for 10 minutes. That's not going to do anything. Be consistent. Same thing with the real estate. You have to. That's the 212 degrees. I love that book. It's short. It's like, I don't know, 40 pages. And
Oh
it's
my goodness.
short, nice little book, but it's a nice little reminder for people.
So that clicks in my head to be in tune with Ed Milet's The Power of One More.
Wow, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
going to the gym, right?
yeah.
Or Tony Robbins says, if you're doing a set of 12, I mean, if you're doing a set, yeah, if you're doing a set of 12, which is the rep that's the most important?
The last one.
Number 13.
Yeah, yeah, the next one.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's always the next one.
yeah, the next one. Do you happen to know who was the author to 12 Degrees?
Yeah, Mac Anderson.
Mac Anderson. Well, I'm coming back to the States late July. I guess I'll be coming back with more books.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, because both of these are not in my rack.
See
So,
that? Wow, 10 years later, and I can still teach you a little something anyway.
oh man,
Now that you're an expert.
oh no, I will never claim to be an expert because then I
Yeah,
stop learning.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always gonna be open-minded to it. You never know. That's one of the things I love about coaching is I'm learning. I mean, my students, I can't be out there and do the same thing as all these people out there. You have so many other people going out there doing things, asking you questions and how to handle certain. I could have never been in all those situations on my own, right?
Wow. Well, I'm chugging this one along.
Yeah,
I know
sure.
that you have another commitment, and I want to
Yeah, sure.
respect that. Um, so here you are. Are you still doing the coaching?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. I've been doing. I don't see myself ever stopping. I love it. Like I said, the reward of hearing people. Even today, I was excited when I heard from you, and when you asked me to be on here, I was like, of course I want to be on here. You know. So yeah, I don't see myself ever stopping doing the coaching. To be honest.
Are you still doing it through Ari Mentor? Or are
Yeah.
you doing it?
Yep. Yep. Still with Dave. Love Ari Mentor. Been there for almost 20 years. I was one of the first two coaches, and they helped develop the program with them along the way. I'll have to send you my new underwriting template, uh,
Oh,
the revised version. Yeah, it's all 10-year pro forma. It's all
oh
decked
my
out now.
God.
And we just morph over year. Again, trying to get better. Trying to whatever people now. Markets change, so then you have to invest a little bit differently. So it needed more features in it. So Yeah, I'll make sure I get that off to you. But yeah, so yeah, I love the coaching, and I'll continue to do it just because I love doing it.
So people don't know what Don just offered me here.
Yeah.
Don's underwriting template has made more multimillionaires out of common people than any other template I could point to in my life or in the history of me knowing real
You're
estate.
too kind. You're too kind.
All right, but this is true, isn't it? I mean, how many
Well, you
thousands?
make your money. That's where you make it or you lose it. Just having one is a big difference because the biggest thing I see, especially in multi, Brian, and you've probably seen this a lot too, is a lot of people when they're first getting in, they don't realize all the expenses you have. Just having a list of everything you should expect, and none of those cells should be blank,
Yeah.
is a big difference because a lot of people think they come in, they think they're going to get all this cash flow, but they only factored in principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and maybe a little bit repairs. There's more. There's admin costs. There's contracted service. So anyway, just from that standpoint and having that, just to know, hey, I might not have all my expenses, lined up.
And I'm sure since COVID, your rule of thumbs, your ROTs are different now just
Yeah,
because of supply and all that.
absolutely. Things changed. Insurance changed a lot, and it's everything's as you know is by market. So you really have to. The rules of thumb are something for people to get started with. But then we teach really to learn how to get the rules of thumb for your specific market by calling management companies, talking to brokers, and things like that.
So we got a couple minutes here. I want to.
Yeah. I have a few more minutes. Yep, no problem.
So what's next for you in real estate, and why not get
Yeah.
started today?
All right. Well, the next for me is I'm on the downturn like you. I do it because I want to, not because I have to. So I still invest. I'm not out there like traveling around the country, finding deals around the country, but I do invest in other, I've had some students, other students as well that have done very well. And they've they have over 6,000 units. Or with Dave still, I still invest with him. And that's the other beauty of it too, by just learning the real estate stuff and learning the underwriting, you can invest in other people's deals because now you know how to evaluate them. I don't know how to evaluate a company, but I know how to evaluate. So if someone sends me a prospectus with a pro forma, I ask them for the T12 and the rent roll so I can evaluate it and see how much they're speculating to know if this is something I want to get into. So some people that might not want, because it's a business at the end of the day, right, Brian? You're not going to come in and spend 2 hours a week and think you're going to be successful. You can do it part-time, but you're going to be consistent. But some people might not want to take it to that level. So I plan on doing that. I coach people. I have a health and wellness a business that I'm building as well. So I coach people how to make leveraged income there. I really got into the coaching aspect of it. And then I flip properties along the way. As I come across the cherry picking deals, it takes a lot of pressure off when you're doing it for full time or for work and to put food on the table compared to say, yeah, I just want to make an extra 30, 40,000. It's a big difference. And that's the point I want to get to. That was my ultimate goal. I understand how to do all this stuff. I have all the resources to do it. And now I get to decide when I want to ramp up the business. And sometimes like this summer now, I'm taking more time off. The winter, it's freezing up here. That's why you probably moved. Then I don't mind putting in long days in January or February,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So here's the curveball question.
Yeah.
What's the question on today's show I didn't ask you that I should have?
Well, before I get that, why not get started today? Is one I didn't answer that you did ask me.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's my fault. I got caught up in another one, but yeah, get started today. There's no bad time to get started. When I get started, it's funny. I was 31 and I was at my first conference, and in the room, they said, "Hey, stand up in the room if you're the youngest in the room." And the kid was like 19 years old. I'm like, I'm 31. I'm like, oh, I'm so far behind. Like, I can't believe I didn't get in this early. He's so lucky. And then they said, oh, stand up if you're oldest in the room. The guy's like starting at like 82. I'm like, all right, I got 51 years on this guy, So there's no right time or wrong time. Some people say the market right now, and it's a little bit hotter with the interest rates higher. Build your team, get all the admin stuff out of the way so that when the market does change and is more favorable, you might have. So is it going to be, it might be a little bit harder to find something right now, but you're building your infrastructure. That's the way you got to look at it. You can't wait till the market turns to build your infrastructure. You're behind everybody else.
Good start operations for sure.
Yeah.
You make a really good point, because when the market does turn, we see commercials going to turn maybe 12 to 18 months, and it's going to be
Yep.
like load up the truck. Now's the time to perfect your operations, because when
That's
you
right.
get busy, you won't be able to.
Or you're not going to the brokers. You're not going to have the relationships. They're not going to take your call because everybody's going to be jumping in, right?
I got 3 more minutes.
Yeah, you got yeah. I got you.
Make it count every
All
second.
right, let's do it.
So, what's the question I should have asked that I didn't?
Oh man, Brian, you're so thorough. It's hard to. Give me a second. What's the question you should have asked that you didn't? I don't have one for you, Brian. I'm sorry. You were so thorough. I loved how you asked when I started, compared to what would you tell the newbie? Why not get started now? Because that's a huge thing. What hurdles did I have to solve? What hurdles did I have and what I have to solve? It's always good to hear from people so you can relate. And what kind of education, what type of inspiration, or what kind of things can people go out there today and buy right now that might help them? I wish why real estate is one of the biggest questions. You did a thorough job. I wish I could find something. I'm trying to dig in my head. What can I find? And I honestly can't. So those are amazing questions, and I love the answering all of them.
Well, we'll give it another 6 to 9 months, see where the market is. I'd love to have you back.
Yeah, I'd love to come back, and I'll be thinking about that question.
Good.
Because now it's going to be in my head.
Good. I'm glad I was able to help.
Yeah.
So, Don, for all of my viewers, all of my guests today, you're an RE mentor. How should our guests get in touch with you?
Yeah, if they want to get in touch with me, probably the best is email. dgoff@rementor.com. dgoff@rementor.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's probably the best one. That's what I look at all my real estate stuff through for my any type of coaching or questions and stuff.
Is there a website?
I'm sorry?
Is there a website?
No, I don't have a website for
Okay.
people because I do everything through them. And like you said, a lot of people don't answer. I don't answer my phone because my schedule's already, my whole day's planned. So I even tell people that. So brokers do too. So that's why another reason why they're not going to pick up has nothing to do with you. They're probably meeting with a client. They're smart if they don't pick up. You picked up your phone all day, you get nothing done. So leave a good message. That's the point, and get back to you. So, but don't be offended if someone doesn't pick up the phone.
Don, I cannot thank you enough for being on the show, for helping me get to where I need to be, helping thousands of other people get to where they needed to be. I'm looking at the clock and I have 20 more seconds.
Yeah,
good. So, ladies and
gentlemen, thank you, Brian, because this is why I do it. To see people have the success that you have, and success is meaning you got to where you want to be, and now it's an option for you to continue to go where you want to go. And that helped me drive me as a coach, seeing people have success. That's what fuels me along the way, so thank you for always sharing that with me. Thanks for all the kind words you've shared along the way. And I love what you're doing now with your podcast. You're going to help a lot of people.
Thank you, Don. And I'm just passing along what you've given to me. So
thank you.
Right back at you, bro.
All right, man.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, all of my real estate peeps. We're 22 seconds over time.
All right.
Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate Podcast signing off, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you, folks.